Special election update. Today is August 9th, 2020, and we're here to give you an update on the special election where ballots are due to the county clerk by Monday, August 24th. My name is Adrian and Jerry. I'm joined once again by Jerry Powers. This is another installation of the Core podcast series. Jerry, let's tell the voters what's going on these days.
Well, the newspaper came out and reported that there were over 550 ballots that have been returned to Santa Fe. Santa Fe County is hosting this election or putting it on for the town. And there is something really highly unusual that has happened. The town, without informing the counselors, we talked to two of the counselors, has set up some kind of a satellite polling operation that starts tomorrow morning, Monday, where people can go in and get ballots printed. So this mayor will have the ballot printing machine in his town offices, which is unheard of, in a non-neutral election. So he's come out very hard against this, as everybody knows. He resisted this election, had to be taken to court and ordered by a judge to even do the election. Didn't want to have it. So we're appalled that he would set up a ballot printing operation in his own offices rather than putting it in the Edgewood Middle School, which is a traditional polling site here.
Now, for those who don't know, the town is having a special election on the question of whether to change its form of government from mayor-council to commission-manager. We have advocated for commission-manager because it provides additional rights to the citizens, what we've called superpowers, as well as bringing an additional element of professional management to the town, which is severely lacking at this stage.
It really gives us all a greater voice in where we live. And that was what started this whole idea of the special election, is we would go to council meetings and get shut down, called names, bullied. We saw the councilors being bullied if they in any way disagreed with the mayor and his two councilors that vote with him. So we thought, well, the way to remedy that is this commission manager government, which was designed to open up government and to make it transparent, and it cuts corruption. They've been proven by studies to cut corruption up to 57%. So we need it sorely, and I'm all for making voting easier, but something strange is going on here because this polling site is not supposed to happen in a mail-in ballot election, and you're certainly not supposed to host it in the territory of the people who are opposing it. It would be like you or I, Adrian, trying to get the county clerk to set up a ballot printing operation in our house or in our office, right? So it's totally inappropriate. We don't like what we're seeing. We're highly skeptical of it. We think it would be fair if they moved it to the Edgewood Middle School, and there it's on neutral territory.
Or some other public place where at least it's not under the mayor's purview. Right. Now, as members of CORE, we have been consistent in advocating our message about openness, transparency, responsible government. And we think that the election process and the right to vote are the most foundational of these principles.
Absolutely.
So we want to encourage everybody in our local community to vote. We don't care if you're for us or against us, but we encourage you to exercise that right. It's a privilege and an opportunity that you shouldn't pass up. At the same time, for those of you who have not voted, be sure to keep track of the timelines because your ballot needs to be in to the county clerk by Monday, August 24th in order to be counted.
And that includes mailing time, of course, so you'll have to account for that. So I'm all for turning the vote out. I know some people have not voted yet. There are over 3,600 ballots that were printed and mailed out in Edgewood. And turnout is traditionally kind of low here, and I think part of that has to do with people not being welcomed into the process and having a voice in their government. So we're trying to open up that with open, transparent government. This is one step. Voting for commission manager government will give us the opportunity to have a greater voice where we live.
Absolutely true. And part of our efforts to protect the vote was something that we had done at the local post office, which was to try to secure ballots to prevent anybody from interfering with the election by harvesting ballots and filling them out and returning them if they were not the actual registered voter to whom that ballot was addressed.
Yeah, we hear a lot on the news about mail-in ballots being subject to fraud, and one of the ways that's true is the post office. Anybody who's been in the post office knows that you'll see those little trash cans. They're not really secure. They have a lock on one side, but the postmaster showed me you could just pick it up and reach your hand in there. So there was trash all over the place on the countertops. The trash cans were overflowing, and you could reach your hand and get whatever you wanted. So we saw that, and in the interest of ballot security and election integrity, we donated some trash bins that were great locking recycle bins. And the postmaster agreed that he would dump those twice a day and put them in a secure location in the back. And then they go to the recycler. So the mayor went down and complained about that. Now, why would he be against ballot security? And why is he setting up a printing press for ballots inside his own office? Some of this stuff looks really bad. I hope that the election will turn out accurate. We're doing everything we can to monitor and protect against voter fraud.
Yes, we are, and we also recognize that sometimes in our quest to bring light to darkness, you touch on pressure points. And we feel like this change in the form of government might be one of those pressure points. And we don't know who's doing what, but we've certainly seen people who have been tearing down campaign election signs and other activities to try to undermine this election effort. And again, regardless of which side of the fence you stand on or which way you want to vote, we think everybody should have the opportunity to do so without interference, restraint, coercion, or intimidation.
Well, that's your political free speech. Sometimes is a sign, right? Sometimes it's this way, and sometimes it's a sign. So we put up over 70 signs, and the very next morning, over half of them were gone. I filed a police report with Edgewood Police.
And we checked with the town because we had not complied with some sign ordinance or other provision, and maybe the town had pulled them, so we checked with them first.
Yeah.
And what was the answer there?
I talked to Juan Torres, who I had to make an appointment because the town is locked. And this is another reason why we're wondering, why are they putting a polling place into a locked facility where you have to make an appointment, right, to get in? But Mr. Torres said that they definitely were not picking up any signs, and I went down to the police department and filed. So the other question, though, that I want to ask is about why would a mayor of a town who's supposed to be a public servant and his actions are supposed to reflect the will of the people that live here, why would he be against a particular form of government? Because he can do his job under any form, so why would he be against people having a greater voice in their government?
It's an interesting question, but certainly it seems that there are some elected officials within the town of Edgewood who are after their own purposes and their own agenda rather than the people's business.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason that we're even holding this special election, is because we need to ensure that this community has representatives who will follow the will of the people, who will do what is right for this community, who will be responsible and accountable in their actions. We think that these are the bare minimums to hold elected office in the town of Edgewood.
And the normal way that I'm used to in good government, watching it happen, is you ask the people, because every place is different. Edgewood is very different than Rio Rancho, for example. You ask the people, what is it you value about living here? Well, most of the people I talk to, they like the elbow room. They like low density. They like the rural environment. There are equestrian facilities, or you can ride your horse. You can have horses here, which is unusual compared to Albuquerque or Rio Rancho. So you ask them what they want, and then you design all of your policy around that. And honestly, I just want to live in a nice place with low density and be left alone. I want government to do the housekeeping functions. That doesn't happen here. The mayor is using the town piggy bank like his own development company. He's running utilities to develop his properties. And I don't want the town money spent on a mayor's property. I want it spent for the people. But also, you don't want the town developed into something it's not. You put in these big sewer systems, the next thing you have high density, and then you call yourself Rio Rancho.
Truly. These are important issues. This is your opportunity to put your say in how Edgewood is run and operated. We hope you take the opportunity to do so. Once again, bringing you the information you need to know. Citizens for an open and responsible Edgewood. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.